Guys, welcome to episode 3 of Fuel the Fire. I'm recording this from inside my van out in front of my local swimming pool where I just came back from swimming over an hour of laps. And that brings me to this week's theme of Fuel the Fire. And the theme is diversify. So what do I mean by that? Well, I mean a couple of things. First of all, when it comes to your exercise, it gets really boring if you do the exact same workout day after day. But not only that, your body adapts. And as your body adapts to doing the same thing, it becomes more and more efficient at doing that thing. And that's good if you're looking for performance. But when it comes to exercising and trying to lose weight and trying to become stronger, having your body become too efficient actually works against you because you start to burn fewer calories doing the exact same thing. And also, when you do the same thing all the time, you tend to train the same muscles, and so you'll get a certain muscle group that's really strong while other muscles are neglected. Now, another thing about diversifying with exercise is that if you get an injury to one part of your body, if you're used to doing a lot of different kind of things, it's not too hard to figure out something you still can do. But if you're always doing the same thing and then you injure the part of your body that you use for that, you're going to have to stop working out. In fact, that's how I first came on this principle of diversify. I mean, I had heard it before, but I had never put it into practice, and I didn't really think that much about it until I injured my leg. I had been working out on exercise videos every morning, and I had been going for walks 3 to 5 miles every single day in the afternoon and doing the same thing every day. And then I injured my leg, and I couldn't walk, and I couldn't do most of what was on the exercise videos. So I had to really sit down and think of what I could do. Because when I injured myself, it was right after the last episode of Fuel the Fire where I said no more excuses. And so I wasn't about to let injuring myself become an excuse not to exercise, but at the same time, I wasn't sure what I could do. And at first, I just tried to kind of back off my training a little bit and push forward slowly and see if I could still recover. But I could really tell that with every walk I took and every jumping jack I did and whatever like that, every time I put weight on that leg, I was doing more damage, and I could tell that. And so I had to stop and think, well, what can I do that won't damage this leg further? And so I tried biking and I tried swimming. And to my surprise, biking didn't hurt my leg. I was afraid it would, and I didn't think swimming would at all, and of course it didn't. So I started swimming and I started biking, and then when my legs started to get better, I started putting the walking back in, but I didn't want to give up the biking and swimming either. So now I'm slowly working my way back up on the walking to try to get to the distances and speeds that I was getting before, but I'm doing it very slowly this time to prevent injury. And I'm also biking and swimming. And not only that, but I've added another workout video. Before I was always alternating between the Biggest Loser Challenge for Wii and 30-Day Shred. And so recently I added in Biggest Loser Cardio Max. And boy, if you want to work out, try that one. That is really intense. You can get an hour of working out on that video, and you will be dripping sweat from every pore of your body. But besides that, so now I've changed up my exercise routine anymore, and I'm doing a lot of different things, and I'm finding that the biking and the swimming have added a little bit of interest. When I'm starting to get bored with just walking, it's nice to know that there's something else I can do. And there are some days when I do all three: bike, swim, and walk, plus my exercise video. I guess that makes 4, but most of the time I do an exercise video and then I pick one of the other activities. Now, it's more effective to train this way because my body's not getting used to doing the same thing all the time. It kind of keeps your muscles guessing, kind of keeps your body guessing. It keeps you from getting bored with doing the same routine day after day. And you can apply this principle of diversification in other areas of your life too. You know, it's been said that variety is the spice of life, and that really is true in a lot of ways. Because another area where it's good to diversify is with your diet. Now, this is something I really need to work on. I have a tendency to make the exact same dish time after time after time, especially when I'm trying to lose weight, because I know that certain things fit in my calorie limit, and so I stick with that because it's easy and I know how to make it and I don't have to think about it. And I don't mind it too much, but my family certainly gets tired of it. And even myself, you know, I mean, I love my chicken stir fry that I make, but when you're having it for the 7th time in 5 days, because you're eating it for lunch and dinner some days, it starts to get a little bit old. And, you know, my idea of changing that up a lot of times, I hate to admit it, is throwing different kinds of spices on it to give it a slightly different flavor, but it's still chicken stir fry. Now, my diet is varied as far as the fact that I get lots of different kinds of vegetables, and I get lean proteins and whole grains and healthy fats and dairy products. I don't eliminate any food group, but I have a tendency to prepare those foods the same way time after time, so that I'm having the same thing for breakfast every morning, and then the same thing for lunch, and the same thing for dinner, or maybe alternating between 2 or maybe 3 meals at the most for each meal, you know, 3 different dinners, 3 different lunches. And it gets a little old sometimes, and you start to wish that you could have something else, and I think that's when a lot of people mess up. But when a lot of people will just, I'm just going to go out to eat. I'll just go to McDonald's. I just want something different. And that's not a good idea. And so I know that myself, I really need to work on this. And so I've decided that I'm going to start trying to make a new recipe. I'm going to attempt to make a new recipe 1 time a week, using the recipes that spark people, until I find, you know, a handful of recipes for lunch and a handful of recipes for dinner that work for me, that I like, that are easy to make. And, you know, once I find that handful, well, that's okay. I don't really need to get hundreds of recipes that I make, but just so that I'm not cooking the exact same things. If I can add in maybe 4 or 5 more lunches and 4 or 5 more dinners, then I'll have a pretty good variety going. And so this is why I'm talking about this theme of diversification. Diversify, don't do the same thing. Don't get bored with your routine. Keep that fire going by just staying alive, staying on top of things, keeping things new and fresh. So here's my challenge to you this week. If you're just starting out on your journey, you know, you might be all right to do the same thing day after day for a while, just until you get used to exercising. But if you've been doing it for a while and you're pretty much doing the same exercise all the time, try something new this week. Try a couple things new if you can, and try to find at least one other thing that you can add to a regular part of your routine. And the same with food. Try a new recipe this week. Find something that fits on your diet. Try a new recipe and see if you can't add some variety to your life. Okay, thanks guys. I'll talk to you later. And until next time, keep those fires burning.